Here on the Rich Eisen Show, thrilled to have the head coach of the Miami Dolphins getting set to take on the Tennessee Titans. They are the 1 seed in the American Football Conference as we sit down and have this conversation. The HC of the MIA, none other than Mike McDaniel. How are you, Coach? Good to see you.
I'm great. I'm great to be here.
Thank you.
I mean, you're like one of my favorite guys around.
Thank you. Right back at you.
So, yeah, I'm just excited on this, whatever day it is. What is today?
It's the middle of, it's on the verge of week 14. You know what I mean?
Like Got it. Yeah, so that doesn't even matter. It's erroneous.
We're right there. Good to see you. Yeah. How you been since Germany? I haven't seen you in a couple of weeks. How you been?
No, so we've been doing a lot less of that losing stuff, so that's been cool.
It's good.
But I think it was a cool, some of the best things that happen to your football team aren't always on the short end that seems the best. So, yes. If you're going to have, like the experience in Germany where we had a team that, was fully invested and came up short, you want to turn it into something good. I think that the lessons learned from that game and that experience and the prioritization of this season in every player's mind has been invigorated, and as a result, we're experiencing some football growth. So we're right in the middle of it. This is what you prepare for all season, is to what your team looks like in December, and so we get to experience the residuals of all of those deliberate practices and moments since then and before then. So good spot.
How are you a different coach than day one when you walked in the building with the Miami Dolphins? How are you different, do you think, Mike?
From when I got the job?
Yeah. How are you different?
Yeah, I think well, I would hope that there's pillars that are very consistent. But at the same time, the way I've kind of approached you try to approach things from a humble standpoint because the one thing that can get so many people care about the job they're doing to such a high level and especially in this job, you're supposed to have all the answers. But the biggest thing that can be a indicator of success or failure in the position is admitting your infallibility. So I think that keeping an open mind to, okay, you made this decision, what are the exact results, and then adjusting from that on a daily basis and not running from that is on the surface a hard thing as a head coach, but it's something that I've really tried to stay true to. So I think I'm a completely different coach than when I started because I've learned so many different lessons, whether it's, what from a team standpoint, maybe deviating from some of the most important things that you believe in or getting distracted by that. I think one thing that I've learned on the job is how much my emotions can set off spirals for other people. Like case in point, if someone's walking past my office and I haven't seen them all day,
yes,
and I'm in a weird headspace and I have like negativity, then I just look up like this and go back. And then they're spiraling for the rest of the day. I'm like, what did I do? And now that's the most inefficient brain work that you could possibly have because it has nothing to do. But just being more aware of that,
yes,
so that you do right by everyone that you're able to touch, because you don't, you don't quite realize the scope with which you can reach people until you're in the job, and it's like, oh, it's everything. So yeah, I'm not allowed to have moodiness and moodiness or ugly face relative to my normal face.
Yeah, you got to be more focused on your resting face, coach. Yes, when you're the head coach,
the resting face has to be. But it is real because I hear you. Yeah, you get into coaching to impact people's lives, and then to see how just bringing energy on a day that people are kind of flat, how that can affect people. You see, realistically, I can doing my job means I have to leave it all out there each and every day. I'm not sure if I quite understood that to the degree, but I think now I'm much more versed at that. Take care of myself better, knowing that I'm more hydrated.
Okay. Yeah. You can't cramp up. You got to make sure. No, but in all seriousness, because you can lose yourself as a head coach in the NFL. You could lose yourself, lose contact with people, lose contact with taking care of yourself. I've seen that, time and time again. And then, chatting with you in Germany with the whole crew, we when you left the room, we were just so taken aback by everything that you just said right there about how you take it seriously about reaching people as a coach and how you focus on that. And you were so eloquent about your, relationship with Tua, and I did my best to try and communicate that to when I got back here in this chair or when I was talking.
It was unbelievable. It was unbelievable. Thank you so much for that. I thought, it was excellent recording.
No, it was really awesome. And but one thing I haven't really brought to light, and I'd love for you to do it here if you don't mind, is Tyreek Hill, because we get the sense in our world, in our fantasy football world, that you just roll the footballs out. He's fast. He's just going to be good, and that's it. But you were telling stories about between years 1 and 2 and what you sort of, I guess, gave him homework to do and what he did in between years 1 and 2 of your tenure there. And I'm wondering what you're willing to share about that here.
Well, Mike. I mean, I think there was a lot of learning in year 1, and I don't think it was a coincidence that in the offseason before this year that Tyreek was throwing out some bold predictions. He's a very smart individual, but he also knew that he was undergoing kind of an evolution within himself, and really recognizing the State of the Union. He came to the Miami Dolphins as the guy that had done it. He was obviously it's very rare to have 6 for 6 Pro Bowls from any player, yes. And then be all world and all this stuff. But he recognized that it could be bigger than that. I think after digesting the first year, he understood that wow, if I am my best self, I'm not only making plays, but what an impact he has on the organization and every player in it. And that mindset, this season, he has gone. He's really, you can see that he's unearthed an aspect of himself that maybe he didn't even realize that he had, and he's super happy in that. It really brings him satisfaction to uplift all of his teammates, and he really puts ownership on the entire team's State of the Union by what actions he can do, what he can invest more into, and what he can he's a game changer, not just when he has the ball in his hands, but how he goes about preparing for Sundays. So you want to talk about how hard, I mean, we have a team that plays hard each and every week.
Mm-hmm.
And we have a team that's very prepared in practice because they go hard every week in practice. That is something that, I'm not sure if we could capture this exact element of what this team is without the best player on the team, maybe in the league, really selling out each and every day of practice. It seems like a small thing is everything. The pride that he's taken in blocking, and then just the overall understand, like, he is so smart and took the time this offseason to really understand everything that we're telling him as a receiver as far as a route depth is to tie in to timing with what the quarterback's doing, so that he gets the ball immediately out of his break, which is where there's the most separation. So I can't speak about him enough. If there's all the flowery language in the world. I would add a couple more words to speak on what I've seen from him, because it's he's always been able to make plays on Sunday, but I would be hard pressed to think that he's ever impacted a team the way he's impacted this team this year, and that's by him fully committing to the responsibility that he feels he has as a star player that's paid the highest at his position in the league, and I don't think he likes handouts. So he's definitely earning all of those dollars.
Mike McDaniel, a couple minutes left with the Miami Dolphins head coach. How do you close out? I mean, I know that's a very, esoteric question, but that is something that I'm sure you're thinking about here, because as we're talking, as you and I were leaving our respective positions in that stadium in Frankfurt, you were behind the Chiefs. Now you're not. Now things have broken to the point where you, if you will, control your own destiny. So how do you close? What do you say to this team to focus on each and every single one of these opponents and wrap this one seed up and get a week off in January?
Well, I think the key to the end result that you're talking about is not talking about it at all. Because
yeah, right.
It's ironic, but it's one of those things. Like, we are in a situation currently after 13 weeks that, man, I'd be super fired up if it was a 13-game season. I'd probably take my shirt off right now. But it isn't. And there's a ton of distractions that come with any sort of success. And the bottom line is, we've been talking about all season about how we prepare for an opponent and working on that regardless who the opponent is. We've been keeping, with long vision, understanding that bottom line is, you're going to play in an elimination game, regardless of what your season looks like, at the end of the year or in the playoffs, and you're going to want to be your best in those situations. So in order to do that, we can't take a week off. The only game that actually exists is the one we have against the Tennessee Titans. And I honestly think, our team is at a spot where they're really leaning into that and understanding that. One of the reasons why we were successful on the road against, I think it was the biggest road victory that the Dolphins organization has had since 1978 against the Washington Commanders. And that was as a result of us not worried about any standings, anything, but our process and how we prepare to perform and play and have fun on Sundays. So you handle all that stuff the way that has positioned you to even be talked about that way, and that's a complete immersion into the only thing that does exist, which is today preparing for one opponent, not 5 or 6.
Got it. Hey, listen, last one for you. Again, I could talk coaching philosophy with you all day long, and so many different people, would maybe think you're not, just based on, again, you like to have fun. You got a great sense of humor, that you're not cold-blooded when you're going after something you want. And then I was watching the Black Friday game, and Al Michaels told a story about how you met your wife. So, I think that's example A, right? That, don't get in your way. Did I learn that, Mike, from that story?
What you learn is seize each and every day.
Yes.
And there's opportunities aplenty if you open your eyes.
Okay. Interesting. Okay. Is that the moral
and
of that
you're
story?
Rhythmic. the key part.
Was that the story? The eurythmics? Because I don't know if Al got into that part about it.
Oh, no. So I felt bad because the story was true.
Okay.
However, it was emphasized. You just had a short time to talk about it.
Of course, yeah. But you can't tell that story in between snaps. You know what I mean?
Right,
like,
and that's kind of what happened. So,
right. So what?
It seemed like I was threatening somebody's job. I was in jest. I said that to Steve Baylark. In jest, because he knew that I was a running back coach, and so I didn't have the power of hiring and firing anyway. But it was more to emphasize the urgency with which to take action.
Yes.
Like, hey, no, dude, I've identified something that's more important to me than you.
Yes.
That's all that.
That's how you communicated that. And then,
right. I think you went short on my dance floor prowess. And that was really the moral of the story. But it was true.
Yeah.
Met her at that nightclub in Sacramento, and started a long distance relationship. That like 6 months later, she moved out to right outside of Dulles Airport in Virginia,
right,
to cohabitate with me while I was coaching for the Washington football team at the time. So it's a real story. I have a lot of random stories in life.
No, understood. But at least that one, hey, look, and Steve can't be upset because, you're married. You have,
I mean,
like,
I don't know. You'd have to get him on the phone. I don't think his mindset was on marriage at the time. I was
okay.
I was the wise one thinking about the big picture.
Yeah, the long term. So you're marathoning. Well, you're not sprinting. You're marathoning. Yeah. You're not sprinting. I get it. I understand. And now you got a kid, and so now you're the silver medalist and best dad ever right now. Coach. You know what I mean? Like, I hate to tell you.
My daughter would vote differently. She texted me and said that she disagrees with that. So she thinks I'm the best dad.
Okay, understood. You know what? It's all subjective. Great to chat with you. Really appreciate you stopping by here. Always enjoy our conversations, and you're the best, man. I really love talking to you and watching you do your thing. Thank you.
I really appreciate it, and I'll still keep coming on as long as I'm tricking you into thinking that it's worth your time. So.
It's the greatest trick. It's a very great Jedi mind trick. It's not the interview you're looking for. Very good. Thanks again, Coach. Take care of yourself.
Appreciate you.
That's Mike McDaniel of the Miami Dolphins right here in the Rich Eisen Show. Catch the Rich Eisen Show every single day on the Roku channel, 12 to 3 Eastern, for free.